Hi everybody, Dan Illman here, taking a look at the feature race at Laurel on Saturday. It's the Grade 3 Baltimore Washington International Turf Cup, one of a slew of stakes races on the Laurel card, and you can bet that card from home with a new DRF Bets account. Sign up, receive a 300% deposit match at bets.drf.com. Here's the field for this 1 mile test on the turf. $200,000 is the purse. Difficult to handicap this race in advance of scratches and program changes. We've got several horses cross-entered, several trainers looking at the weather to see whether their horses are going to run on the turf here or opt somewhere else. But we'll take the field in post-position order. And the number 1 Night Prowler just ran on Thursday afternoon, finishing second in his first start off with a claim. I find it highly unlikely that he's going to come back off only 1 day rest. Night Prowler, I would expect to scratch Trevor McCarthy 6-1 on the morning line. We don't want Grasshoppin in this race because he's entered main track only, and that would mean that this race would probably be decimated by scratches, and all of our turf handicapping would be for moot. So we'll move to the number 3 Dalarna, who is 30-1 on the morning line, and there are worse 30-1 shots than Dalarna. I realize she kind of lacks a winning profile. She hasn't won a race since the fall of 2017, but that day she pulled off a 19-1 upset at this distance at Belmont Park in the English Channel Stakes, and in her most recent race at Monmouth, the Grade 3 Red Bank, there just wasn't any pace up front. It was Dalarna's first start off of a short freshening. She was far behind and last off of that slow pace, and I kind of liked the way she passed a few tired horses in the stretch. Something tells me that Dalarna is slowly rounding back into form, but he's going to need a little bit of pace in this spot, and he might have to run a little bit faster. His career best buyer is only an 87, and there are lots faster horses in this race. One of them is the number 4 Abiding Star, who set that slow pace in the Grade 3 Red Bank last time out and was just no match for odds-on winner Synchrony, who's simply better than Abiding Star. Abiding Star is fast, there's no doubt about it. The question is whether he's going to appreciate a little give in the ground. And looking over his past performances, I don't think that will be a problem at all for Abiding Star. Now we have to ask if there's going to be any other pace in the race. And we'll take a look at the Timeform US Pace Projector for the 3 Baltimore Washington International Turf Cup. And Abiding Star is sitting second in here. Now, again, you can visit timeformus.com after scratches, and they'll have updated pace projectors. If the 6-seam reap scratches out of this race, that could leave Abiding Star all alone on a moderate pace, and that could be Abiding Star into the winner's circle. He's a real solid horse coming off of a 92 buyer speed figure. The 5 is O Dionysus, who is also cross-entered in a 1.5 mile race at Laurel on Saturday. And considering that this horse won a 1.5 mile race at Laurel 2 starts back on the turf, and that no rider is named right now for this race, I'm going to assume that O Dionysus will run in the longer race and will scratch. As for Sim Reap, who is the number 6 and the leader in the Timeform US Pace Projector, if he runs in this race, I think he is very dangerous. He is also cross-entered in a race on the dirt, and that's because trainer Ben Colebrook really doesn't want to run this horse on a very wet turf course. If he does run him here, here's a formulator fact to consider for Colebrook. Past 4 years, older turf routers in graded stakes, 21% winners and a $2.34 ROI. This horse has hit the board in all starts of this form cycle, all 4 tries, and I really liked his effort last time out at Kentucky Downs, where he battled with 2 other horses early, eased back off the pace, came around those horses to make the lead, and then was no match for the favorite, the fast-closing Next Chairs. All in all, that was a really rock-solid performance for a horse capable of running 94-95 buyers. If CM Reap runs in this race, the pace projector has him faster than Abiding Star. I'm not sure that'll play out, but I wouldn't mind if Firgal Lynch is sitting second off of Abiding Star, ready to pounce on the pace setter when the field turns into the stretch. The horse to beat, however, is the number 7 Projected, who won this race last year for trainer Chad Brown, and you can make the argument that he's coming into this race in better form than last year, off of a 3rd in the Grade 2 Bernard Baruch handicap at Saratoga, a race where he tracked Voodoo Song, the pace setter that didn't fire that day, but who was setting a legitimate pace. Projected reeled in Voodoo Song, a tall order to be sure, but then was no match for the late runners. He popped a 102 buyer speed figure, has earned triple-digit buyer speed figures in 3 out of his last 4 races, and has a versatile running style. My main concern with Projected is, while he did win this race last year, he's a horse that often finds 1 or 2 better, often at short prices. Note in his last 5 races, he has lost at odds of 4-1 or less, and he's going to be way shorter than that at post time for Chad Brown and Joe Bravo. He's the horse to beat, but he's not exactly a slam dunk even in this field. Conquest Pantera stretches back out after finishing 7th in the Grade 3 Kentucky Downs Turf Sprint for Mark Casse. He lagged far behind the pace, angled out into the stretch, and finished evenly. I think that this is a tweener, a horse that's probably better at 7 furlongs or maybe even a 1-turn mile than a true 2-turn 1-mile route that he'll be facing on Saturday. He finished behind projected 2 starts back in the Lure Stakes, going 1 mile and a 16th. This is a horse that's done okay work on good turf, and maybe that'll move him up, and I think he can be a little bit closer to the pace. The number 9 Irish Straight is a graded stakes winner, and this is a horse that's run some nice races. 3 triple-digit Beyer speed figures on his record. He is certainly fast enough to win a race like this. But ever since he's come back in 2018 as a 6-year-old, I wonder if this is the same Irish Straight that was terrorizing fields at Monmouth last summer. Yes, he did win a little stakes race for New Jersey breds 3 starts back, but he lacked punch in both the Oceanport and the Red Bank last time out. And I know that Synchrony, the winner of that race, is a legitimate Grade 2 and knocking on the door of a Grade 1 type, but Irish Straight just didn't seem to have that late fire. He's a horse that used to have a little bit of speed and could be more forwardly placed. Completing the field is the number 10 Dr. Mountie, and I really liked Dr. Mountie last time out in the aforementioned Old Friends Stakes. It just looked like this was a classic example of a Shug McGahee horse getting better with experience, distance, and maturity. And Dr. Mountie took a stumble at the start, and he never really fired after that. I wonder if his race was taken away from him right there at the break. His prior effort in the Oceanport, he finished ahead of Irish Straight. He raced outside while Synchrony shot up the rail to beat him. And I think Dr. Mountie at a price, a stakes winner over this course and distance previously, can make some noise at a price. We'll take a look at my top pick for this race. If he runs, I think CM Reap is going to get a good trip, either on the lead or sitting second. I liked his last performance at Kentucky Downs. He's knocking on the door for one of these big races. If he doesn't go, Projected is going to be dangerous, obviously, but I'll go 6, 7, 4, and 8 in the Grade 3 Baltimore-Washington International Turf Cup, a race and a card that you can bet on Saturday with DRF Bets. Sign up, get that 300% deposit match at bets.drf.com. Approximate post time for the Baltimore-Washington International Turf Cup, 3:30 Eastern on Saturday. Best of luck.